The Galactic Confederation of Associated Species, characteristic of many administrative quagmires, displayed a notable lack of skill in naming conventions but excelled in establishing excessively intricate procedures for everything else. Spanning 17 spatial sectors, encompassing what humans might charmingly term a substantial portion of the Milky Way, over 300 sapient races had successfully avoided mutual obliteration for almost 12,000 years, an achievement most credited to exhaustive documentation rather than effective diplomacy. Within the imposing amphitheater of Outpost Station Epsilon 9, where delegates convened to deliberate on matters of galactic significance while skillfully sidestepping any concrete resolutions, the most recent acquisition report from the Zervax Empire illuminated the main view screen for all attendees. The Zervax picture evolution favoring upright walking lobsters with an alarming penchant for military attire had been systematically enlarging their dominion for centuries, exhibiting the subtlety of a stellar explosion. "We are delighted to report the successful assimilation of the Pell 3 system," declared Subcommander Recht, his mandibles producing a clicking sound that signified smugness within his species. Their opposition was, as anticipated, ineffective and mathematically foreseeable. Naturally it was. Zervax military planners had refined conquest into an exact science. Locate planets possessing valuable resources, compute their defensive strength, deploy overwhelming military might, and subsequently install governors inherently devoid of any capacity for humor. It proved dishearteningly efficient. What rendered the Zervax genuinely perilous wasn't their tough exoskeletons or their unsettling practice of grooming their eye stalks amidst diplomatic discussions. It was their unwavering belief that the cosmos functioned by logical principles only they had truly grasped. This perspective brought everyone to the curious situation of Sol 3, or Earth, as its native bipedal inhabitants insisted on naming it. Theoretically, Earth ought to have fallen under conquest decades prior. It resided in an unremarkable spiral arm, held preposterous amounts of liquid water, featured varied biospheres, and possessed mineral riches that caused resource analysts to make involuntary mating sounds during briefings. Strangely, however, the planet remained untouched, not solely by the Zervax, but by every other expansionist civilization, equipped with a fleet and imperial ambitions. Most peculiar was Earth's utter omission from all official conquest evaluation documents, as though the galactic community at large had tacitly agreed to ignore the existence of one perfectly viable blue planet. "What of that particular system?" a junior Zervax analyst ventured during the presentation, gesturing an appendage towards the noticeably vacant area near Sector 8472. "The one containing The ensuing silence was so intense that several telepathic species present underwent what they later termed the psychic equivalent of having a door slammed shut mentally. Subcommander Rex exoskeleton paled slightly. "That system is not available for discussion currently." Admiral Grell Krell of the Zervax Expeditionary Fleet had climbed the ranks through a powerful mix of tactical genius, political maneuvering, sometimes involving literal backstabbing. Zervax possessed very sharp limbs, and a remarkable knack for appearing occupied while assigning all real tasks to others. Today, though, he encountered the one scenario his career had adeptly sidestepped until this moment, a genuinely problematic mission. "You require me to do asterisk what asterisk?" Krell's voice synthesizer struggled to render his incredulity into the formal register befitting an admiral. High Commander Zix tapped 7 of his 12 limbs on the obsidian briefing table. Asterisk asterisk. "The investigation begins. Asterisk asterisk. Examine the Sol 3 anomaly, discreetly. But Commander, official records are non-existent. Precisely, which is why this must stay off the books. Put together a specialized unit. Ascertain why this planet is still unconquered, despite its clear strategic value." Zix leaned closer, eye stalks stretching to their maximum intimidating span. "And Krell, do not make contact with the inhabitants. This is strictly reconnaissance." Thus, with the eagerness of one tasked with counting individual sand grains on a shoreline, Admiral Krell started assembling what was destined to be the most overly skilled yet underprepared reconnaissance unit in the annals of the galaxy. First enlisted was Dr. Nix Qua, a xenobiologist of extraordinary renown, whose 27 published works on interspecies communication were deemed revolutionary, even though she struggled to order a meal without inadvertently insulting the cook. A Valerian possessing translucent skin that shifted hue with her moods, Qua had a regrettable habit of turning vivid purple when fabricating information, making her arguably the least suitable candidate for clandestine operations. Following her was Lieutenant Commander Zephos, a weapons expert and tactical consultant. His robust, six-limbed physique contained exceptional combat prowess, alongside an ego comparable in size to a minor celestial body. A Duraxian who staunchly held that any issue could be resolved through the proper use of plasma-based weaponry, Zephos typically spent briefings polishing his custom-made molecular disruptor, affectionately dubbed Final Argument. The technical team was represented by Plink, a mysoid engineer whose species evolved from something akin to sentient moss. Plink communicated via a sequence of musical tones and had 17 senses, none of which encompassed practical judgment. What Plink lacked in standard intellect, they compensated for with an intuitive grasp of technology so deep they could mend quantum engines using the equivalent of adhesive tape and sheer optimism. Completing the roster was diplomat Ursa Lox, an unwilling Sephoran empath, capable of perceiving the emotional states of most intelligent life forms, an ability she, much to her perpetual annoyance, could not deactivate. Constantly drained by the emotional static of those around her, Lox had cultivated a coping strategy involving stark honesty, paired with existential observations that many found profoundly disquieting. Their transport, the stealth vessel Inevitable Conclusion embodied the zenith of Zervax engineering, a craft so advanced that half its systems were still theoretical, while the other half functioned reliably only when unobserved. Its cloaking system could purportedly make it invisible to all known detection technologies. Its sensor array could scrutinize a planet down to the microbial level from orbit, and its integrated AI had cultivated such a complex personality that it had lately asked for counseling. This operation, Krell declared to his gathered unit, displaying the enthusiasm typically reserved for announcing a financial audit, will be simple. We observe, we gather data, we leave. Under absolutely no circumstances do we engage with the humans or expose our presence. The cosmos, known for its well-established sense of irony regarding such pronouncements, carefully noted these instructions for subsequent ironic deployment. The inevitable conclusion entered Earth's orbit with the stealth and accuracy its designers had intended, which meant it instantly set off 17 different terrestrial satellite collision alerts and barely evaded an intimate encounter with an obsolete weather monitoring device from the 1980s. Astounding, murmured Admiral Krell, observing the primitive satellite drift past their view screen. They've cluttered their own orbital zone with technological refuse. Could it be some form of defensive measure? Dr. Qua, shifting to a contemplative shade of blue-green, proposed a different explanation, or possibly they are merely untidy. Their initial day of surveillance yielded information that could generously be termed baffling. Earth seemed simultaneously pre-industrial and post-nuclear. Some regions of the planet communicated through instantaneous global networks, whereas others still utilized animal-powered transport. Certain humans launched themselves from perfectly functional mountains using only fabric wings, while others went to great lengths to avoid ascending a single flight of stairs. This species defies logic, grumbled Zephos while examining the initial sensor readings. They possess the means to obliterate their entire world multiple times, yet they cannot concur on a standard system of weights and measures. Asterisk. First contact mishaps. Asterisk. The dispatch of observation drones was intended to resolve these inconsistencies. It failed to do so. Drone Unit Alpha 7, assigned to surveil a military compound, lasted exactly 18 minutes before being downed by what its final report identified as a primitive projectile weapon, brandished by an elderly human safeguarding his agricultural land. In actuality, it was Farmer Johnson employing a shotgun, certain he had finally intercepted one of those government surveillance drones his nephew constantly mentioned. Drone Unit Beta 3 managed to infiltrate what seemed to be a technology research center, only to find it was a venue named Dave and Buster's. After dedicating 3 hours to trying to decipher the objective of Skee-Ball, the drone's AI experienced what can only be classified as an existential breakdown and started trying to acquire plush toys from the Claw Crane game. Drone Unit Gamma 9 came back bearing 17 hours of recordings featuring something identified as cat videos, having become ensnared in a recommendation algorithm its neural network found strangely captivating. "I fail to comprehend," Plink intoned melodically, their mossy appendages fluttering in confusion. Based on these scans, the humans are concurrently broadcasting their classified military frequencies alongside something termed reality television on the identical communication channels. The team convened in the vessel's briefing room, encircled by displays presenting conflicting data. One screen depicted humans undertaking enormous engineering work spanning continents. Another showed them vehemently debating the proper method for assembling a sandwich. "They seem to have achieved mastery over nuclear fission," observed Krell, "yet they continue to power the majority of their vehicles by combusting ancient fossilized flora. Their medical science can substitute malfunctioning biological parts with artificial ones," contributed Dr. Qua. "Still, they knowingly ingest substances recognized as detrimental." Diplomat Locks, who had remained uncharacteristically silent, finally offered, "Their emotional states are erratic. Joy, fury, ennui, all present concurrently throughout their population. It's inducing acephalalgia." Lieutenant Commander Zephos tapped his main manipulating limb impatiently against his disruptor. "So they are primitives possessing some sophisticated technology. What is the danger level assessment?" "That is precisely the issue," Krell responded, mandibles clicking with exasperation. "Our conventional threat evaluation models are inapplicable. Examine this." He indicated a display presenting historical information. "According to our restricted data, 3 distinct species have endeavored covert infiltration of Earth within the last century. None returned reports." "And yet," Krell continued, "there is zero indication the humans even noticed them." "Perhaps," suggested Dr. Qua, turning a worried shade of purple, "we ought to contemplate more direct surveillance." The universe, maintaining its dedication to ironic twists, started preparing its culminating jest. Asterisk, asterisk. The historical records. Asterisk, asterisk. While the remainder of the team argued about their subsequent course of action, Diplomat Locks had been discreetly accessing the vessel's classified archives. As an empath possessing a security clearance exceeding what the others realized, she enjoyed certain advantages, the sort acquired by signing documents in triplicate and vowing to have one's own nervous system repurposed as ambient lighting should those advantages be misused. "Admiral," she declared, cutting into what had become a dispute over whether humans were exceptionally ingenious or exceptionally foolish, "I believe you need to examine this." The holographic projector activated, displaying documents stamped with the security classifications not only of the Zervax Empire but also of a dozen other spacefaring races. Some were so thoroughly redacted they looked more like abstract compositions than actual reports. "These are classified across numerous galactic powers," Krell noted, mandibles twitching with unease. "How did you... Let's concentrate on the alarming aspect, shall we?" Locks gestured, scrolling through the documents. "These contain records of prior interactions with Earth, interactions that were never included in official galactic histories. The initial report, marked with the emblem of the Valtraxian hegemony, detailed an infiltration attempt during what humans designated the 1950s. A reconnaissance craft had landed in a region named New Mexico, intending to perform preliminary invasion feasibility studies. The commander's final message simply stated, 'Withdraw. Not advantageous. They are all mentally unstable.'" "The Valtraxians?" Zephos clicked his combat mandibles incredulously. "They successfully seized the Regilian Star Fortress. How could primitives frighten them away?" The subsequent file displayed the wreckage of an Arcturan stealth vessel, somehow fused halfway into a mountainside. As per the report, the ship had been picked up by rudimentary human radar, panicked, and engaged its phase drive while still within the planet's atmosphere. The consequences were geological. That ought not to be feasible, murmured Plink, their moss-like exterior rippling with anxiety. Human radar from that period could not possibly register quantum-shifted vessels. File after file recounted analogous incidents. The Mirag endeavored to set up a deep ocean base, only to pull back after encountering what they termed an impossibly flawless natural hunter, later confirmed as an ordinary sperm whale. The Zeta Reticuli abduction initiative discontinued after test subjects repeatedly escaped using methods the Zetas deemed mathematically unattainable, one reportedly utilizing only a paperclip and what seemed to be dental floss. Most unsettling was the account of the draconian invasion contingent, 50 vessels, over 20,000 soldiers that had simply disappeared. The sole proof of their mission was a lone, damaged data capsule containing video of humans detecting their supposedly invisible ships, followed by an abrupt loss of signal. A recurring theme emerges here, Dr. Qua stated, her skin shifting through concerned tones of blue and gray. Every civilization that has tried to interact directly with humans has either withdrawn or vanished completely. Krell's eye stalks were fully extended, indicating severe stress among Zervacs. And still, there's no sign of sophisticated defensive armaments, no cohesive planetary authority, no interstellar travel capacity. That is what defies explanation, Locke added, bringing up comparative data sets. According to every standard we employ to assess species, humans should represent straightforward targets. And yet, the ultimate document contained merely a basic advisory warning, encoded with the utmost security level, circulated covertly among the leaders of every significant galactic entity. ***, Earth advisory, do not engage. Classification, Death World. Inhabitants, unpredictable. Threat assessment, disproportionate to technological level. Recommended action, quarantine, ***. The room descended into silence as the gravity of the findings registered. "Well," Lieutenant Commander Zephos finally remarked, unconsciously caressing his disruptor, "I suppose we could simply obliterate the planet from orbit and settle the matter?" No one chuckled. Worse still, no one could clearly state precisely why that felt like an extremely poor course of action. Earth's primitive communications ***. Following their unsettling findings, the unit shifted its focus to scrutinizing human communications. If earlier civilizations had met unforeseen opposition, perhaps the humans were transmitting indications of their actual capabilities. "I have successfully isolated their main information conduits," Plink announced, their melodic sounds slightly discordant with eagerness. "They refer to it as the Internet, and it seemingly holds everything." "Everything?" Krell's eye stalks angled doubtfully. "Their complete cultural works, scientific understanding, societal interactions, mating customs, and what seems to be an inordinate quantity of images featuring small, furry quadrupeds, accompanied by grammatically dubious text." The team distributed the intercepted data amongst themselves. Within hours, the operation had deteriorated into what terrestrial office personnel would identify as an exceptionally disorganized binge-watching marathon. "I think I've located historical evidence of a prior invasion effort," Dr. Qua reported, her skin flickering with scholarly zeal. "A lone human vanquished an entire alien fleet by introducing a computer pathogen into the extraterrestrial primary vessel." "That is technologically unfeasible," Plink scoffed. "Nonetheless, the document, named Independence Day, seems to commemorate this event," Dr. Qua maintained, "and thousands of comparable accounts exist. War of the Worlds, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Edge of Tomorrow." Zephos, meanwhile, had been examining what he presumed were human combat training exercises. "These humans employ combat maneuvers that violate known physical laws," he stated grimly. "One individual, designated John Wick, dispatched 77 adversaries using archaic projectile arms. Another, known as Batman, seems to be a specialist in psychological warfare, who adopts the guise of a nocturnal winged mammal to capitalize on opponent anxieties." "That's insignificant," Krell interjected, mandibles twitching with agitation. "I've been observing their news broadcasts. They are presently confronting numerous potential extinction events. Climate instability, nuclear weapon proliferation, artificial intelligence uprising, and something termed reality television. Yet they appear largely indifferent. Diplomat Locks, who had been uncharacteristically silent, finally contributed. They aren't actively preparing for these dangers because they possess confidence in their capacity to surmount them. Observe their fictional creations. Humans invariably triumph, always, even when facing insurmountable obstacles. But that's merely amusement, Zephos contended, not actuality. Is it? Lox's tone had acquired a disquieting edge. What if these aren't solely narratives? What if they function as warnings? Psychological dissuasion transmitted across space? The chamber grew quiet as this notion took hold. Reflect on the pattern, she went on. In their stories, extraterrestrials arriving as invaders are invariably overcome. Those arriving peacefully are welcomed. It exhibits remarkable uniformity. You cannot realistically propose they are deliberately broadcasting these as a sort of galactic warning, Krell protested. Then provide an explanation for this, Lox countered, displaying a human transmission showing a small, wizened creature aiming a luminous digit at a child. This portrays an extraterrestrial stranded on Earth. The humans assisted its return home. So, why transmit a message advocating peace while concurrently cataloging innumerable methods they've employed to destroy potential invaders? Locke's expression grew somber. Unless the messages, highly specific, arrive as allies or do not arrive whatsoever. The team members exchanged apprehensive looks, each mentally revising the mission's risk evaluation. Asterisk, asterisk. The infiltration mission. Asterisk, asterisk. This is unequivocally the poorest concept in the history of interstellar reconnaissance, Admiral Krell proclaimed as the unit readied itself for the surface excursion. I require that formally documented in the mission records. Documented, affirmed the ship's AI, alongside your preceding 7 declarations of poorest concept since this operation commenced. The strategy, such as it was, entailed the team utilizing sophisticated holographic emitters to appear human and undertake direct observation within a medium-sized metropolitan area named Cleveland. This site was selected deliberately because, as Diplomat Locke stated, based on human consensus, nothing noteworthy ever occurs there. Dr. Qua had dedicated 3 days to refining their appearances, painstakingly studying human attire styles, vocal inflections, and social conduct. The outcomes were almost persuasive, much like a child's sketch of a rocket is almost a technical diagram. Recall, Krell cautioned as they readied for teleportation to the ground. Maintain your disguise constantly. Our aim is to witness typical human activity without attracting notice. 5 minutes subsequent to materializing within a municipal park, Lieutenant Commander Zephos had already breached this instruction by trying to react to a barking canine with what he assumed was the correct assertion of dominance, standing utterly still while holding unwavering eye contact. Sir, hissed Dr. Qua, her skin shifting erratically beneath the holographic projection. That is not the manner in which humans engage with their companion creatures. Then why does it issue a challenge to me? Zephos retorted. Before she could reply, the dog's guardian, an elderly woman with violet-dyed hair wearing a t-shirt stating, "My grandchildren are more adorable than yours," approached them smiling. Pay no mind to Biscuit, he's amiable. Are you folks visitors? You seem somewhat disoriented. What ensued was an agonizing 20-minute exchange during which the woman, introducing herself as Gladys, offered unrequested suggestions regarding nearby eateries, lamented her recent hip surgery, displayed 17 photographs of her grandchildren, and extended an invitation to a neighborhood cookout that weekend. Intriguing, whispered Plink after Gladys finally moved on. The human initiated social interaction with total strangers and divulged personal medical details within moments of introduction. Is this standard conduct, or an advanced questioning method? Their perplexity only escalated as the day unfolded. The unit divided into pairs to observe a wider area, each interaction proving more baffling than the preceding one. Krell and Qua endeavored to assimilate at a neighborhood coffee establishment, only to find that ordering a basic drink involved deciphering a linguistic maze of sizes that weren't truly sizes. What rational system denotes tall as the minimum option? milk alternatives sourced from various species, and temperature specifications articulated in subjective phrases like extra heated but not excessively so. When Krell eventually obtained his beverage, the server had written Carl on the container and sketched a smiling face. "They have recognized me," Krell murmured urgently. "They are aware my designation is not Carl." "I suspect," Qua answered deliberately, "they merely misunderstood your name and are attempting friendliness." Meanwhile, Zephos and Lox had entered what was termed a thrift store, initially identified by Zephos as an archive of discarded artifacts, until Lox clarified that humans were actively buying these pre-owned objects. "They are willingly obtaining the cast-off items of unfamiliar individuals," Zephos remarked with increasing disquiet. Why would a sophisticated species intentionally select second-hand articles over new ones? Resource efficiency? Sentimentality? Style? Locke speculated, observing a youth enthusiastically acquiring a jacket that looked intentionally distressed. Perhaps we are excessively analyzing this. Plink, who had been told to stay near the others owing to their propensity for distraction, had somehow found themselves involved in an unplanned street show alongside a collective of human musicians. Their inherent melodic way of communicating had evidently been interpreted as musical proficiency, and they were currently part of an impromptu jazz group, garnering applause and monetary contributions from appreciative bystanders. When the unit reconvened later that evening, their combined findings depicted a situation more muddled than illuminated. The humans I watched dedicated 2 hours to gazing at compact rectangular gadgets while seated together silently, reported Qua. Subsequently, they erupted in laughter at something termed a meme, comprising text overlaid on a picture of a displeased-looking cat. I observed humans willingly exposing themselves to auditory assault, which they referred to as a concert, added Zephos. They seemed to derive pleasure from having their internal organs resonated by low-frequency sonic vibrations. Krell's mandibles clicked from annoyance. None of this clarifies their seeming capacity to overcome advanced extraterrestrial races. Doesn't it, though? Locke stated softly. Consider our observations. These humans perpetually adjust to disorganized environments. They flourish amidst unpredictability, forge social bonds instantaneously, find new uses for anything they find, and appear pathologically unable to adhere to logical behavioral norms. A dawning comprehension spread among the group, articulated flawlessly by Plink's gently chiming remark. They aren't overcoming superior alien technology. They are simply being human . And that, it seems, is the difficulty. The revelation. The team stayed on Earth for an additional 3 days, accumulating information and growing progressively unsettled by their discoveries. On their last night, they gathered at a place called Dave's Bar and Grill to consolidate their observations prior to departure. "I have concluded the analysis of the historical data," Dr. Qua declared, her holographic appearance occasionally flickering to show glimpses of concerned purple skin. Humans have endured roughly 37 extinction-level occurrences throughout their documented past. "That's unfeasible," scoffed Zephos. "No species withstands that quantity. Pandemics, starvation, global conflicts, climatic alterations, asteroid collisions." She continued, Qua pressed on. "Each instance, they not only persisted, but subsequently became more technologically sophisticated. It's almost as if," she paused, seeking the right phrasing, "as if they utilized disaster as a mechanism for evolution." Plink's melodic utterances were unusually dissonant. "I have been studying their curve of technological progress. It isn't uniform or even geometric. It's irregular. They might remain static for centuries, then achieve a massive advancement suddenly." "During times of strife," added Krell, mandibles clicking as the connection formed. "Exactly," Plink affirmed. "Their most noteworthy breakthroughs happen when they face danger. World War II alone propelled their progress forward by decades. Atomic energy, jet propulsion, computers, all created because they were attempting to eliminate each other with greater efficiency." Lox, who had remained unusually reserved, finally offered her insight. I have been observing their emotional reactions when endangered or trapped. Most species exhibit fear, compliance, or methodical hostility. Humans display something entirely different, a sort of intense anger blended with inventive problem-solving. Yesterday, she elaborated, I saw a human child's toy vehicle cease functioning. The father, possessing no formal engineering knowledge, mended it utilizing a piece of chewing gum foil, a coin, and a borrowed hairpin. He referred to it as MacGyvering, apparently a verb originating from some shared cultural reference. Krell's eye stalks extended in apprehension. Are you implying their seeming technological inconsistency is, in fact, resourcefulness? They don't depend solely on technology, Locke concluded. They improvise using whatever resources are at hand. That fails to account for how they have vanquished technologically advanced species, Zephos argued. Doesn't it? Countered Qua. Consider the outcome when a technologically superior entity encounters humans. We depend on established procedures, precision instruments, and strategic principles. Humans discard all that. They employ their rudimentary technology and manners our predictive models never foresee. Did you know, added Plink, they once neutralized aerial surveillance systems by creating fires that generated thermal readings miles away from their true locations? Or adapted commercial drones for battlefield observation using software developed by adolescents? Zephos clicked his combat mandibles scornfully. Ingenious ploys do not secure victory in conflicts against superior technology. Convey that to the Arcturans, Locke retorted quietly. Their technology surpassed human capabilities by centuries, yet their invasion force vanished without a trace. As if to emphasize her statement, a disturbance erupted near the bar. Two humans, seemingly disagreeing about a sports competition, started physically pushing one another. Within moments, furniture was airborne. Observe, Zephos indicated triumphantly. They are aggressive and lack discipline. No, Krell corrected slowly, watching as the participants were swiftly separated, immediately made amends, and started purchasing beverages for each other. They are volatile, yet versatile. They conflict, adapt, and collaborate with comparable spontaneity. They embody chaos. The team fell silent, finally grasping Earth's true defense mechanism. Not its technological prowess, not its armed forces, but its populace. Unforeseeable, resilient, endlessly resourceful, and utterly perplexing to the logical frameworks of galactic civilizations. Asterisk, asterisk, the report and aftermath. Asterisk, asterisk. In summary, Admiral Krell pronounced, standing before the Zervax High Command with the stiff bearing of someone aware their professional future was precarious, I strongly advise designating Sol 3 as a restricted engagement territory. The assembly hall, occupied by the Empire's most distinguished military figures, stayed quiet, their multifaceted eyes fixed on Krell with the sharpness of targeting systems. Allow me to clarify this, stated High Commander Zix eventually. You propose we refrain from conquering a technologically less advanced planet, possessing plentiful resources simply because its inhabitants are inconvenient. Not inconvenient, Commander. Incomprehensible. Krell's mandibles clicked anxiously. The humans lack any unified planetary defense, possess no superior weapon platforms, and have no knowledge of galactic society. Nevertheless, they possibly constitute the most substantial danger we have faced. Because they are erratic? Zix's inflection clearly conveyed his low opinion of this conclusion. Because they are concurrently the most adaptable and the most stubborn species known, Krell lamented. They have weathered calamities that ought to have wiped them out. They advance their technology via warfare and, most alarmingly, seem to grow stronger when challenged. Krell activated the holographic projector, displaying video excerpts from their mission. Witness this human mending intricate equipment with basic implements. This one adjusting to an unforeseen event by devising a completely novel approach. This collection of humans transforming a dispute into a festivity within moments. Their fictional narratives celebrate the overthrow of superior adversaries through what they term thinking unconventionally, a notion so foreign to our strategic planning that we lack a corresponding phrase. Simply stated, we cannot forecast their actions because they themselves are unaware until the moment arises. The presented information was persuasive enough that even the most aggressive commanders started clicking their mandibles in hesitant concurrence. Very well, Zix conceded. We shall classify Earth as do not engage. However, I must inquire what explanation we provide to the Emperor regarding our avoidance of a planet inhabited by primitives. Inform him, Krell proposed, that humans are excessively valuable as an ongoing sociological experiment, or that their planet is infected with a pathogen lethal to Zervak's biology, or merely that the administrative documentation needed to catalog their 13,000 separate cultures would deplete the imperial coffers. 2 days thereafter, the official status was recorded throughout all galactic information systems. ***. SOL 3. Prohibited engagement. Reason: administrative burden. Excessive. Asterisk. Somewhere within Cleveland, a coffee shop employee named Tiffany commented to her colleague, "Remember that peculiar group of visitors from yesterday? The ones who gaped at everything as if they'd never encountered a coffee shop? Yeah, I'm certain one of them had purple skin when the illumination was just so, genuinely purple. Probably just one of those recent augmented reality applications," her coworker answered with indifference. Or perhaps they were just deeply involved in costume play. Yeah, you're likely correct. Extraterrestrials in Cleveland? As if that could ever occur. Throughout the galaxy, 17 species possessing sophisticated interstellar travel capabilities persisted in meticulously ignoring Earth's existence, while humans carried on blissfully ignorant of their standing as the most formidable species in the recognized cosmos.